The Story of Pyramus and Thisbe. Next door to each other, in the brick-walled city built by Samaris, lived a boy and girl, Pyramus a most handsome fellow, Thisbe loveliest of all those eastern girls. Their nearness made them acquainted, and their love grew, in time, so that they would have married, but their parents forbade it. But their parents could not keep them from being in love. Their nods and gestures showed it. You know how fire suppressed burns all the fiercer. There was a chink in the wall between the houses, a flaw the careless builder had never noticed, nor anyone else for many years detected. But the lovers found it. Love is a finder, always. Used it to talk through, and the loving whispers went back and forth in safety. They would stand one on each side, listening for each other, happy if each could hear the other's breathing. And they would scold the wall. You envious barrier, why get in our way? Would it be too much to ask you to open wide for an embrace or even permit us room to kiss in? Still, we are grateful. We owe you something, we admit. At least you let us talk together. But their talking was futile, rather. And when evening came, they would say good night and give the good night kisses that never reached the other. The next morning came, and the fires of night burnt out, and sunshine dried the night frost, and Pyramus and Thisbe met at the usual place, and first in whispers complained, and came, high time, to a decision. That night, when all was quiet, they would fool their guardians, or try to, come outdoors, run away from home, and even leave the city. And, not to miss each other, as they wandered in the wide fields, where should they meet? At Ninus's tomb, they supposed, was the best. There was a tree there, a mulberry tree, loaded with snow-white berries, near a cool spring. The plan was good. The daylight was very slow in going, but at last the sun went down into the waves, as always, and the night rose, as always, from those waters. And Thisbe opened her door so sly, so cunning, there was no creaking of the hinge, and no one saw her go through the darkness. And she came, veiled, to the tomb of Ninus, sat there waiting under the shadow of the mulberry tree. Love made her bold, but suddenly here came something, a lioness, her jaws a crimson froth, with the blood of cows fresh slain, came there for water, and far off through the moonlight Thisbe saw her, and ran, all scared, to hide herself in a cave, and dropped her veil as she ran. The lioness, having quenched her thirst, came back to the woods and saw her, the girl's light veil, and mangled it and mouthed it with bloody jaws. Pyramus, coming there, too late, saw tracks in the dust turn pale and paler, seeing the bloody veil. One night, he cried, will kill two lovers, and one of them most surely deserved a longer life. It is all my fault. I am the murderer. Poor girl, I told you to come here in the night to all this terror, and was not here before you to protect you. Come, tear my flesh, devour my guilty body. Come, lions, all of you, whose lairs lie hidden under this rock. I am acting like a coward, praying for death. He lifts the veil and takes it into the shadow of their tree. He kisses the veil he knows so well. His tears run down into its fold. Drink my blood too, he cries, and draws his sword and plunges it into his body, and dying, draws it out, warm from the wound. As he lay there on the ground, the spouting blood leaped high, just as a pipe sends water spurting through a small hissing opening when broken with a flaw in the lead, and all the air is sprinkled. The fruit of the tree from that red spray turned crimson, and the roots soaked with the blood dyed all the berries the same dark hue. Thisbe came out of hiding, still frightened but a little fearful, also to disappoint her lover. She kept looking not only with her eyes but all her heart, eager to tell him of those terrible dangers, about her own escape. She recognized the place, the shape of the tree, but there was something strange or peculiar in the berry's color. Could this be right? And she saw a quiver of limbs on bloody ground and started backward, paler than boxwood, shivering as water stirs when a little breeze ruffles the surface. It was not long before she knew her lover, and tore her hair, and beat her innocent bosom with her little fists, embraced the well-loved body, filling the wounds with tears, and kissed the lips cold in his dying. "Oh, my Pyramus," she wept, "what evil fortune takes you from me? Pyramus, answer me! Your dearest Thisbe is calling you. Pyramus, listen! Lift your head. Hear the name of Thisbe." And he lifted his eyes with the weight of death heavy upon them, and saw her face, and closed his eyes. And Thisbe saw her own veil, and saw the ivory scabbard with no sword in it, and understood. "Poor boy," she said. "So it was your own hand, your love, that took your life away. I, too, have a brave hand for this one thing. I, too, have love enough, and this will give me strength for the last wound. I will follow you in death, be called the cause and comrade of your dying. Death was the only one that could keep you from me. Death shall not keep you from me. Wretched parents of Pyramus and Thisbe, listen to us. Listen to both our prayers, and do not begrudge us, whom death has joined, lying at last together in the same tomb. And you, O tree, now shading the body of one, and very soon to shadow the bodies of two, keep in remembrance always the sign of our death and the dark mournful color." She spoke, and fitting the sword point at her breast, fell forward on the blade, still warm and reeking with her lover's blood. Her prayers touched the gods, and touched her parents, for the mulberry fruit still reddens as it ripens, and the ashes rest in a common urn.